episode 191 of the Parkrun Adventurers podcast. Everybody's excited, and by everybody I mean me, because I have got a special new guest co-host this week. You'll recognize the voice, although it might sound a little bit different because it's coming to you, and by it, that sounds really terrible, doesn't it? He is coming to you from Victoria, which is a little bit warmer than the climes that he has been reporting in from of late, those climes being the Canadian variety. It is the one and only G-Train. G-Train, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Mel. Great to be on here, and looking forward to having a chat with you tonight.
Awesome. As I said, I'm very excited to have you here. I would like to start, however, with asking you about the origins of G-Train, because it's not a nickname that we gave you. Scotty used to be very fond of giving the roving reporters nicknames because he's familiar or friendly with anyone. He doesn't like to call them their actual name. But G-Train is one that you called yourself when you first started reporting in for us. And where does it come from?
Well, it's the handle that I use on my race bibs whenever I do an event, and there's the opportunity to, personalise the bib. And the nickname first came from my old school mate, Professor Tim Stanier, who's a researcher at the University of Melbourne, and he's also into running, and he lives locally to me as well, so we catch up every now and then. And he just, with his comments on Strava regarding my runs, he came up with the name G-Train. I thought, well, that sounds okay. So I thought I might stick with it.
And how many times in your running career have you had somebody shout at you, all aboard the G-Train?
It hasn't happened yet, but, at running events. No. I do get a few shout-outs for saying, sort of, go G-Train, hurry up G-Train, that sort of thing in events. But no, nobody said all aboard yet.
Oh. Gosh, there's like so many missed opportunities that must have happened. I'm really actually very disappointed. Yeah. Anyway, I do love personalised bibs though, because they're great for having people shout out your name and encourage you in a more personal way. I know when I'm cheering, I always use them as much as possible. So.
Yes, and when I'm doing an event, I'll always just take whatever name people yell out. So, if somebody else ahead of me is called Tony and somebody says, go Tony, I'll think, okay. They've got my name wrong, but I'll keep going anyway.
Well, as long as you don't correct them, because they're doing the best they can.
That's right.
Now, okay, let's do a little bit of a session of getting to know the G-Train, because we have been very fortunate to have a lot of roving reports from you, our special correspondent, most recently relating to the Canadian series. Can you give us a bit of a background? Well, let's go back to Canada. What made you decide that it would be cool to report into the Parkrun Adventurers from Canada?
Well, the first time that I sent you guys roving reports from Canada was a bit over 2 years ago now, and Parkrun in Canada was still very young at that stage. There were probably less than 10 events across the country, I think, from memory, and around the Greater Toronto area there were only 2 either side. We're in Toronto because my wife is from Canada, so we're over there visiting her dad and the rest of the family. And by that stage, I was right into parkruns, so I thought, well, while I'm here, I don't think we'd had any roving reports from Canada at that stage, so I thought, why not give it a go, do something new, and have a bit of fun with it.
Okay, and I'm just going to interrupt you there. What is your dog called?
That would have been Milo.
Milo. Oh, there's plural? You've got dogs plural?
Yeah, there's plural. Yeah, Milo and Archie. And I suspect there's probably another dog on the TV or something. Excellent.
We are big fans of having puppies around and about the place when we're recording on the podcast. So nice to meet you, Milo. But back to Canada, yes. So this was season 2, effectively, your most recent series. It was season 2 of the Canadian series. And you've done an excellent job getting around and about. I guess it's been a nice little excuse for you to try the different ones as well.
Yeah, it has been. It was interesting the first time that I was over there, in that both of the events were about an hour either side of Toronto, and from where we were staying in a little sort of attached city called Brampton. But this time we had some closer events to us. We were staying in Mississauga, which is again on the outskirts of Toronto. So I was able to get to some events which were only about 20 minutes away, which is fantastic. And I think the furthest I did have to travel was about an hour to 2 events, but I only had to do that twice rather than having to do it each week when I was there last time.
Yeah, every time you sent a new report in, I would go to the Canadian map and I would have a look where you were and where you'd gone to. And you've got quite the little cluster in the area now. There's probably, the Canadians probably have a club for that, or that kind of region or something.
Yeah. And there's only one of them that I haven't done, which I was sort of kicking myself for afterwards. While I was over there, I was coming close to an unofficial milestone with volunteering. So I thought the fun way to do that might be if I could volunteer as an AD on New Year's Day at one of the events, and they very kindly allowed me to do that. But as a result, there was one event on the other side of Toronto that I didn't get to. So, mixed feelings about that, but it's all good in the end.
There's always next time.
That's right. I'll save it up for then.
Okay, so you talked about when you first went to Canada that you were right into parkrun then. Where did your parkrun story start?
Well, it's interesting. I guess if I just go back to my running story to start off with, I did a fair bit of running when I was younger in my early adult years, when I was in the army, and but I left the army because of some chronic injuries that I had incurred. Not doing anything exciting, but just wear and tear sort of thing. And as a result of that, I stopped running around about that time. And so for about the next 20-odd years, I was not necessarily out of shape as such, but had turned into a bit of a couch potato. And in the end, when somebody close to me was going on a bit of a fitness journey, I thought, well, I'll join in to give them a bit of support. And then quickly came to the realisation that I needed to get back into shape for my own well-being anyway. And to just backtrack, I did my first park run when I was driving out of our estate one morning here at Berwick Springs, and saw a whole heap of people running around and thought, well, something's going on there. So I Googled it, found out what it was, and thought that's interesting. But I was still in the mindset that I shouldn't have been running. I should be doing things like swimming and so forth to be easier on my injuries. And so I went down and did one and thought, okay, that was okay, but, I'm not going to worry about it for the moment. And I was actually late too and missed the briefing, so they were all well gone before I got down there. But it was then almost 2 years later when I was back into getting fit and doing a little bit of running again that I went down for my second one. And one of the reasons for doing that, though, was I wanted to get a bit more involved in the community. We'd had unfortunately, there had been a shooting in the area. This is going back to 2015. Somebody who has, I guess, lived a bit of a violent life, had somebody try to get some payback on him. And as a result, he was shot. He survived, which is good. We don't want to see anybody killed.
No, but goodness, a scary situation.
Yeah. But I thought, well, how am I going to respond to that? Am I going to be all fearful and stay at home and not go out of doors, or am I going to, I guess, try and show people that, no, look, this is a good area to live and there are worthwhile things to do around here. And I thought, well, I'll give this park run a bit more of a go. So I did one with a friend of mine, Joe Denawi, who's now an RD himself. And he, dragged me along and paced me, which was fantastic. It was a great support. And as a result of that, I thought, okay, well, look, I'll just do a bit more work on my fitness and then I'll come back to this in the new year, which I did. I was one of those people who had made that New Year commitment to get going. So I think it was the 6th of January.
You're one of those.
I was one of those, and I stuck with it. So, yeah, I wasn't there for the New Year's Day event, but I think it was the 6th of January 2016, which is my third event, but that's my real parkrun birth, I would say. And I've only missed being there a couple of times since then.
Wow.
4 years later.
Not many. I mean, so you're a bit of a slow starter. 2 years between your first two and then a couple of months between your second, your second and your third.
Yep.
It's a very interesting motivation when you talk about, there was crime effectively somewhere nearby within your community, and you actually made a conscious choice about how you were going to let that impact you, and decided not let it impact you adversely, not let it turn you into a hermit or change, I guess, the way you wanted to live. Or do you think maybe it did change the way you wanted to live to a certain extent?
Look, I think it brought home to me the fact that this sort of event can happen anywhere. And, we all like to think that we live in nice neighbourhoods and that nothing much ever happens. Well, at least I hope a lot of us feel that way. I think we still need to be mindful that, there are people out there who don't have the best of intentions and want to live a life of violence, and that getting out and about is one way of showing them that, there are good people in the world, people who want to support each other, and people who enjoy living. And hopefully that will set a bit of example for some people who might be thinking of heading down that path. I'm probably being a bit overly idealistic here, but, it's just my way of, I guess, getting out and about and getting to know the people who live in my neighbourhood. And the other thing is, too, that, it's been a fantastic boon for me, helping me get back into a decent level of fitness, and has certainly exposed me to more running than I ever did in my younger days as well.
Well, that's always a bonus, isn't it?
Yes. And look, one of the other things that I came up with, which then I think I heard Paul Sitton-Hewitt say as well, perhaps, was that, parkrun is about community, and I came for the run and stayed for the people.
Yes, well, I'm glad that 3 times was a charm for you, G-Train. We're lucky to have you.
Thanks, Mel. It's been fantastic, and, I'm lucky for the opportunities that parkrun has provided me with getting out and about and meeting more people, and extending my social network as well, introducing me to various running clubs around the area, introducing me to that beast called the marathon, and having a lot of fun along the way.
Oh, she is a beast too, isn't she?
Yes.
Now, speaking of opportunities that parkrun has provided, you are an event ambassador in Victoria and support a whole bunch of very lucky events down that way. Where did you parkrun last weekend?
I volunteered at Berwick Waters, which was their 12th event. We launched there in late last year, and it's one of the events that I support as an event ambassador. I thought that as I've never been a marshal before, I'll strap on my 6-shooter and pin a badge on and head on down there and cheer people on, and that was a lot of fun. It's one of the roles that I'm trying to promote more around the area, because I guess we want to let people know that there are lots of ways that you can take part in parkrun. You don't necessarily just have to walk or run. You can come along and do some of these roles, which I guess help cheer people along, or just do some of the little tasks around an event, which are not necessarily crucial, but they do help out in a small way, and it also gives people an opportunity to just participate and have a bit of fun.
Awesome. I love that. So were you in fancy dress then? Did you take a badge and a cowboy hat? No?
No, I didn't. I should have, but maybe another time.
I'll expect that from you in the future, and I want to see a photo when it happens, please.
You're on. And where did you get to, Mel?
Well, I was at Brightwater Parkrun, which is the closest event to Kawana. So it's 3 kilometres from Kawana as the crow flies. Haven't been there actually for a while. I haven't run there since the course was adjusted officially. I did it, and I think they've had this course probably now for 2 years. It's time flies in the parkrun world. But it was my fastest run of the year. Not too difficult, considering I had that whole 3 weeks where I didn't actually get to parkrun on a Saturday. So I'd been having a dry spell since New Year's Day double. But I'm still taking it. I've parkrun 3 times this year, and this was my fastest. So that was really awesome, having a morning at Brightwater last weekend.
Oh, that's lovely.
Hello, Parkrun Adventurers. This is Mark reporting in for the Channel 5 news crew, and today for my first roving report for 2020, I'm coming from Riverbank Parkrun in the New South Wales country town of Yass, which is just outside my hometown of Canberra, and I'm here for event number 13. Riverbank has suffered a bit with the poor air quality due to the bushfires in New South Wales, so they've missed a couple over the last couple of weeks, and actually come out here to knock off my Nendy as well, which is good. So Riverbank Parkrun in Yass has an average run time of 37 minutes and 56. It's a 2-lap out and back course, and along the river here, and we're looking forward to running this course, and we'll have a chat to a few of the other park runners that are here today. Alright, so I'm here with another couple of Canberrans who had ventured out to Riverbank at Yass here, and I'm here with Susan. You're normally from Gungahlin?
Yeah, I am. That's my home park run.
And is this your first time at Riverbank?
No, I came out actually for Yass's inaugural park run, so this is just my second time today.
And what did you think for launch day?
Oh, it was great. It was a really exciting day, actually. The hill at the beginning there kind of got us going to start off with, and the thought that we had to do it a second time was a bit daunting. But we made it and got round, and yeah, it was a great day.
You're going to smash it today, aren't you?
Oh, I'll give it a good go, that's for sure.
And Judith, where's your normal park run?
My home park run is Ginninderra.
And is this your first time here as well? Or second time?
No, actually this is my third time because I came back as a volunteerist to be tail walker 1 week.
And do you get out and adventure much?
I try to, not as much as I'd like to. I'd like to do more, but life interferes. But yeah, whenever I can, I do.
And you're sporting the 2020 Rundown Ana singlet. Where are you up to on your quest around Australia?
I've just gone past Emery or something like that. Anyway, heading towards Perth.
Oh, very good. You're certainly smashing me. I only just started in the last couple of weeks. I'm not yet at Goulburn. Well,
it's good fun. It keeps you going, that's for sure.
Yeah, look, and that was the reason I signed up for it. Is I've heard a lot of people use it as motivation. It's like now it's like, yeah, using that as a bit of motivation to get a little bit further. So hopefully I'll get to Goulburn in the next week.
Yeah, for sure. I'll look you up then.
All right, well, enjoy your run out there. Will we see you at coffee?
No, unfortunately, we're on our way to Melbourne to visit relatives, so we won't be able to make coffee, but maybe next time.
All right, no worries. Well, I'm sure I'll see you around Canberra anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I'm here with Kendall, who's run director this morning. Good morning, Kendall.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us at Riverbank today. It's a beautiful course you have here.
Yes, we get a lot of that. It's just beautiful. We're very lucky that we have brought parkrun here to Yass.
So I think event was number 12 from memory, around there. How's it been, for the first couple of months starting up?
Really good. Our launch, we had over 300 people and actually ran out of tokens, so we had to record everyone down. But since then, we've had probably average about 60 to 70 people a week. And we've been having a lot of people come from near and far, especially Canberra. And we've only had to cancel one just due to the smoke this year with the fires. But no, it's been really good. It's great to have something like this in our little community.
It is, and that's some really good numbers you've got there. So, provides a nice healthy base, and some good volunteers can come out of those kind of numbers as well. So well done for attracting that kind of numbers to the course. How can you describe the course? I think in my intro I may have said it was like an out and back, but it's kind of like a loopy out and back.
It is kind of a loopy out and back. We did struggle at first to try and find something that was going to extend to the 5Ks, but we always wanted the river to be our main focus. It is a bit, we did have to make it 2 laps just to try and meet that 5Ks, and it is a bit loopy up the top near where the high school is and that, but we've managed to squeeze it in, so we're not near roads or anything like that. So.
There's two river crossings, which are nice and safe, but that's kind of cool, having some low-level river crossings.
It is. I'm not sure what we'll do if there's a flood, but at this stage that's not going to happen. But we have had it in the past where the whole river has flooded and the waterline has come up to right up the bank. But we'll just cross that bridge whenever we come to it.
Well, that just means it's an early coffee and breakfast time, really.
Yes, and Beautiful Trader & Co. is our sponsor for Yass Parkrun, and Tony is actually, who part owns that, is actually one of our run directors as well and volunteers with us and has helped us get it off the ground.
Excellent. And I believe there was another community initiative that kind of helped fund the parkrun here as well, because obviously funding is a big part, getting a parkrun off the ground. What can you tell us about that?
So many years ago we used to have a run called Run Your Yass Off. It hadn't been up and running for a couple of years, and the Yass, I'm not sure of their actual name, but the Yass Park, I think they're the Yass runners, had some funding left over, and beautiful Andrew Douglas, who is a pharmacist here in town, decided to give us the funding we needed to get this off the ground, and he actually came first today, so I'm very proud of him.
Well, it's really good of Andrew to do that, and local businesses, also supporting him being the pharmacist here, and also Trader & Co. So it's good to see local businesses supporting parkrun here.
Yes, it is, and all the businesses have been great. They've allowed us to put up flyers in their windows, and they've really gotten on board.
Right, well, thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you at coffee.
No worries. See you there.
We're at Zillmere, and with me now is Tim. Tim, you're involved in the committee here, I guess. What's your position?
I'm one of the run directors here. There's 5 run directors here who've come on board in the last 3 or 4 months here at Zillmere. I've been running parkrun probably 4 or 5 years now, and recently, about 12, 14 months ago, I moved into the area, and I like the size and the feel of Zillmere, so made this my home.
So whereabouts were you before?
I've done various ones. I've done Mitchelton, Bunyaville, Albany Creek. And I've done a lot of touristing as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, nice range of them there.
Yeah, it is. But the variety, the fact that this is off road, and there's space, and you don't have to worry about bikes or cars or crossing roads or anything like that.
No, all we have to do is watch out for floods.
That's right. To bring the flippers now and then.
So we're on this is the 2nd anniversary for Zillmere.
That's correct.
Roughly how many people do you think?
That was some conjecture. We roughly estimate somewhere between 120, maybe 140 in that range. Okay. Our average is between 40 to 60 a week, so it's big. We get, I'd say, at least half of the people we get here are visitors.
Yes.
Trying to get their alphabet.
Shock, horror, surprise.
I know. But it is good because you get a variety of experiences. People talk about where they've been, what they've done, what they've seen, and it's a really good vibe to the place. But it's small enough so you know everybody, but big enough you keep getting new people in.
It's quite a good little sports centre for the start. What do you call it? Start, finish, coffee.
Briefing area.
No, bugger the coffee. It's the cold lime water at the moment.
And super dupers.
And the super dupers. For the listeners, probably like everyone else in Queensland, they'll realise it's rather warm today and humid.
The last 2 or 3 weeks, the humidity has just been through the roof. So, and we start at 7 a.m. New South Wales and some areas down south start at 8 a.m. You can imagine what it'd be like at that time of day starting this race.
Yeah, I'd pass on that just over the border. Bad news.
That's right.
Yesterday, the frogs were out in force. Last week, I was by Chermside.
Yes.
And you were deafened by the frogs going there.
Yeah. I was here last week when it was washed out, and on the far side, you're underwater. Well, at least a good 10, 15 centimetres underwater in patches, and the causeway was just flooded. But I guess that's the joy of a community event. Yeah. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't.
No, it's actually a beautiful run. You can see people virtually, I think, the whole way around.
Yeah, that's right. And so it's not so bad if you're a newbie who is not overly familiar with the course. You just need to, almost like a sheep, just follow the person in front of you, providing you're not leading, and you get to find your way around.
No, it was beautiful. Look, thank you very much for the day. And of course, the theme today is Hawaiian.
Yes. It was suggested by the other run directors that we make it a Hawaiian theme. So I think it's gone down a treat.
And I'm avoiding all the lay jokes.
That's right. They've been done.
Thank you. Okay, and I love your flock of ibis.
Yes, they are tending to the fields.
Grazing.
Do a great job.
Okay, thank you very much, Tim.
Not a problem.
Okay. And we've got a few more visitors to Zillmere. It's with me is Tracy. Get the order right. Wendy and Rhonda. No, this way. Close. Okay, and you're from New Farm Parkrun.
Yep.
What got you here today?
We were chasing our Z, really.
Like most visitors to Zillmere, I'd guess.
Yeah.
Have you done much of your alphabet?
A fair bit. I think Wendy's done the most out of all of us. What have you done?
I've only got Forest Lake and Ipswich will be my 2 more local ones, and then I'll have to travel for the other 3. So I've got 21 today.
Very good.
Yeah,
out of a potential 25 at the moment. Okay. And do you normally travel around together to different places now?
Yeah, a fair bit. We tend to do a bit of travelling, so when we're not at New Farm. Yeah.
No, it's a great way of getting around.
Yeah.
So this is obviously I have to work out the microphone. This is the first time you've been here. How'd you find the course?
It was a tough one. We were trying to do a negative split today for our training, so
Good luck.
That heat just got us.
No, it's sort of a swimming through the sweat in the second half, I think, today going through.
Yeah.
You didn't get lost at all?
No, it was pretty good, really. Yeah.
I think it's a little cruel that they make you run past the finish line and do a whole another 800 metres.
Yeah, a lot of runs do that. I don't know if there's an M&S quotient or something that goes through.
It's a little cruel, but it was tough.
Yeah.
Because of the surface as well. We're being at New Farm. We've got our nice wide concrete path. So this is totally foreign to us.
It wasn't actually soggy though today.
No.
Which sort of thinking it could end up that way.
There were a couple of patches where there was a little bit of water, but overall.
Oh, where do you plan going to in the next week or two?
Probably
Ipswich and
No.
I mean, New Farm.
We're going to go down the coast next weekend, and then I've got to run at South Bank with Barbara in a couple of weeks' time, and I guide for a visually impaired friend.
Okay.
So I'll be over at South Bank in a couple of weeks, and then we'll go back and visit our home park run.
We're about due to volunteer then, so...
Does this mean you haven't been at New Farm all that much recently?
Just in the last few weeks, we've been doing a fair bit of touring and getting some of our alphabet letters. We've been to Yarrabilba and Underwood, got our Ys and our Us, so just building those letters up.
It's an excellent way of getting around, actually.
Yeah, it is.
I fully recommend it.
Yeah.
And hopefully the heat and the humidity will start dissipating a bit.
Exactly, yeah. And then we'll have to get our negative splits on track again.
Oh, good luck. It's not nice in theory, isn't it, the negative split?
I achieved mine.
Well done, you.
Today?
You were looking strong.
Only just, but I got it.
She's a tough cookie, Wendy.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll take my hat off to you.
Yeah.
Look, thank you very much. Enjoy the travelling.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Howdy park runners, Toc reporting in for the Channel 5 News crew. Today, Jack and I have made a bit of a pilgrimage up to Kerang, and we've brought our mate Mel along. She's managed to get some day leave out of the Army Reserve, and so we've brought Mel up with us to Kerang. Kerang for me is a bit of a pilgrimage. As a child, I spent nearly every school holiday and every long weekend coming up to Kerang. My grandparents lived up here, and so it's been a bit of a return to some good times. Sitting out here at the moment before parkrun on the edge of the Loddon River, just reflecting back on some of those times, and this is a really great place. I'm really looking forward to this one. We'll talk to some people. Catch you later. Howdy park runners, we're at the finish line of Kerang now. We're looking straight up a gun barrel straight here, and ironically we're reading a sign that says shooting in progress when red flags displayed. We run right beside a pistol club, which tends to make people probably run a bit quicker up the straight. I'm with a group of locals. Can you introduce yourself, guys?
Rachel. Linda. Tanya.
And is this your first parkrun you've been to, or have you been to other parkruns previously? What's your background with parkrun?
This is my second. We came to the launch at Kerang last week, so just new to it.
New to parkrun, and enjoying getting your emails so far?
Yeah, love it.
Yep.
Yes, we rang each other last week. We compared results.
So it's your second one as well, is it?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. And how about you, Rachel?
The same.
Same. So we're all fairly new into parkrun. Oh, you're new into the world of adventuring, where you start to go and do other parkruns, and then your results will list all the different parkruns you've done, and you'll compare your times of. So when you go away on holidays, you'll get used to looking for a parkrun, trying to find it. And what do you think of the course out here?
It's very good. It's very scenic and even. And fairly flat. Yeah, fairly flat.
It is a pretty good flat course. It's nice along the river. I went for a run before parkrun this morning. You got a number of little bush tracks in and out around the river too. It's really beautiful along there.
It's a common walking track kind of all around here, but yeah, it's nice to actually do a proper, timed walk.
Yeah, I did think when I got a couple of Ks out in the bush and someone else popped out on a run too, I thought it must be the local haunt for the running.
It definitely is, yeah.
And it'd be beautiful on a hot day too, because you're in under the trees too, lots of shade.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, guys, enjoy your parkrun journey, and good luck with future parkruns.
Thank you.
Howdy parkrunners, Toc reporting in for the Channel 5 News crew. Today we're ventured up to the extremely sunny town of Kerang. I've got to say this is probably sunnier than Inverloch. I know that's hard to admit, but it is. And I'm with Jody. Jody's one of the co-EDs at Kerang. Jody, how did you come to get involved with parkrun?
Oh, it's just I'm actually a counsellor in Kerang, and it's good to get our community together and meet different people, keep them active and social. And we started last year trying to get a group together that were interested, and that's how we've sort of got to here. And amazingly, you're telling me that you haven't actually run a parkrun, but you're here volunteering. That's an outstanding effort. Well done. So week 2 for Kerang. Normally the second week the numbers drop quite a bit, but you've actually got really strong numbers here. This is impressive. Yeah, I'm really surprised. We had 170 for our launch last week, and I'm guessing 120, 130 today. I could be wrong, but they're still coming in, so let's wait and see. And something I noticed out there, Jody, which you always get walkers at every park run, but the number of walkers at Kerang is really high by percentage. I think that's great that you've managed to engage the community this early. We did promote via Facebook and all our media forms through council and across our newspapers that it's not just for people that run, it's a social activity to get people out and active. So we encourage the walkers as well to get out there as well. I've never seen a group so strong at the back of the field walking. I guess there's probably a third of the field out having a walk, which is just really impressive to see. So, you're barcode scanning today, so I'll let you get back into it, and thanks for your time. Thank you.
Wow, 1 week can be a long time in parkrun. And today, I have the pleasure of being at Kerang Regional with my lovely hosts, Toc and Jackie. They didn't even know I put the call out in the pod last week for a lift, but within days of missing parkrun last week, I had an offer for a seat in a car, and so here I am. Very appreciative, thanks Toc and Jackie. So I'm going to speak to the co-ED Annette and get you a little course description. Okay, hello Annette, and congratulations on Kerang Regional Parkrun. Would you like to describe your course for us?
Oh, thank you, Mel. Our course is, as always, the 5 kilometre, but it's just a out and back, but I call it a wiggly horseshoe shape because it's sort of a horseshoe shape, but wiggles around all over the place around the little wetland in the area. It's flat gravel track. Starts out on the track along the river, and then it goes onto the levee, which the levee is what saved us in the 2011 floods.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And this is the Loddon River, is that right?
This is the Loddon River here, where we are here. And they, man-made area in the middle there, made that and moved the levee over to the other side so that we sort of go around.
Now, you've got some great support from council, I believe, that actually did something special for you to be able to use this track.
Yes, it was actually the council that approached me because I'd been looking around for a track, and I'd sort of put in a bit of an idea to them, and they said, well, I think we can do a little bit better than that because this track isn't a listed road. It's just a track that's evolved through the years, and the Shire said, well, we can just close it off because it's not a road. So they've moved the gates, they've enabled it to be parkrun specified of no traffic. We just have to check to make sure there's no fishermen down alongside the river. And no, they've been absolutely magnificent, the Shire have. They helped us in so many ways, getting the funding. We got a big grant off them, $5,000 off the Shire. Which has helped with the DFIB and everything like that, and yeah.
That's good. And you've got quite a unique sign there at the start line.
There's a bit of a story to that. Well, this pistol club that used to, it still operates as just a pistol club, but it used to do more long range, small ball rifle. So if the rifle club were shooting, they had to put out signs so that people knew that they were shooting. But now with the baffles and the pistol, it's perfectly safe and but they've just left the sign there.
So I'll just read it out. I'm not sure if Tony did when he did his report, but it says warning, shooting in progress when red flags displayed, and it's right at the start line, which is a bit unique.
And safe to walk past, it says.
Oh yeah, in small writing at the bottom.
Small writing. Yeah, so it's good to see.
So what's been your involvement with parkrun yourself?
I have been here right from the start. Because I'd heard of parkrun. I hadn't really done a parkrun, but I'd heard about and people, not in town, but other people, friends, relatives, and over in Kahuna, they had theirs. And I thought, well, about time we had one. I asked around here, and yeah, a lot of people said they really like to have one, and I said, well, okay, I'll see what I can do to get it going. So I've been here right from the start.
Oh, well done. Certainly a good thing for the community, and I hope that they embrace Kerang Regional. That's it from me. Who knows where I'll be or if I'll parkrun next week, but for now, this is one happy little parkrunner. See you all again soon. Bye.
Hey, what up? It's the K-Man and
Action Man Alistair here for our guerrilla tourism, finding out how the different parkruns roll in different places.
We are currently now at the Wagi Bridge Park run in Gungahlin. It's a nice undulating walk, as we can say.
Yeah, and it's got a creek, and a bridge.
Yeah, that goes over the creek, funnily enough.
And the bridge has the Wagi Bridge troll.
Oh, you should have told me that before I went over.
Well, you got over quick, you didn't do too much clippity-clappity, and so he didn't hear, and he didn't come out and eat your bones for breakfast.
Well, that was the thing I found interesting, that we stopped on both sides of the bridge.
There was a lot of...
sort of a briefing.
Briefings. We had a briefing.
Yep.
Of how the run, like the first timers briefing, before the bridge. Then we had the acknowledgement of country.
Yep.
And then the countdown, and then the start of the run on the other side of the bridge.
Yeah, no, they really maximised the bridge usage there.
It's all G. Oh, you know what I did see on the bridge though?
No.
From the bridge, I looked across.
Yeah.
And I saw hoppity kangaroos.
Ooh, the hoppity kind.
And the only and the best.
I love those. All right, well, let's go find some people and chat with people.
How many times have you come to this run?
It's our first.
Oh, your first. Your inaugural. You three? Or,
yeah.
So you go. Okay. So it's your first inaugural Wagi Bridge.
Yes.
Have you done just Canberra, or have you gone around the world?
We've done yes.
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 We've done.
The first one.
Well, I've done all of Canberra.
Oh yeah.
Well, now when I finish this one.
yeah.
If I ever finish this one.
Mm-hmm.
And done a few around the region.
Mm-hmm.
And we're planning a couple in New Zealand in March.
Oh yeah.
Queenstown and Wanaka. In fact,
is Wanaka
a friend
a
of
city?
ours was recently doing them in Scotland.
Oh,
yeah, Scotland. A friend has done Scotland.
Hi.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
So we're a regular group, and our home is.
Oh, what's your group called?
What are we called? The regular Parkrun Junkies.
Parkrun Junkies. Awesome.
Yes.
Are you on Facebook?
No, but we have our own chat group.
Cool.
Yeah, our home ground is
Gungahlin, but
cool.
But we've got people from Tuggeranong, part of that, and I live in Western Creek, and these guys live.
So
around.
is Coombs your regular, or is Gungahlin still your regular?
No, Gungahllin's still home.
Okay.
Yeah, because my friends come here.
Okay, cool. All right.
The cool people.
The cool people.
You've done Perth before.
Oh, Perth.
Yeah.
Okay, have you joined the Peel Club, which is someone who's done one in every state?
No, but I've only just found out that badge thing that you can add to your parkrun profile,
Mm-hmm.
parkrun challenges. So I've been looking at the alphabet. So
Oh, yeah?
W will help today.
Yeah. Oh.
And I've
There's a lot of W's in Sydney.
Well, I haven't done any in Sydney.
Okay, anyway. Hey, I'm not drilling you.
No.
Is the New Zealand the next ones on your list for new parkruns?
Well, no, we wanted to do Jindabyne and have a bit of a weekend of it, but because of the fires, we put that off. And we still haven't done Queanbeyan.
Oh, do you already have a queue though?
No.
Okay, well, it's a double win. A double win.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, let us continue on our walk. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good luck. Hope you get more interesting.
Oh, you guys
stories.
are very interesting to start with. I'm not sure. We're going to have to go aim high to beat you guys.
Thank you.
No worries.
Lovely
You too.
walk.
All right, so we're here at the Wagi Bridge sign, which we are informed by it that it is it's a bridge, really. This is the best way to put it, and it goes over water.
The natural waterline of the Ngunnawal people.
Wow, you got lots of information. You must actually have read the sign instead of just leaning on it.
Wagi Bridge was erected to connect Amaroo and Moncrieff without interrupting the natural water flow that situates on the Ngunnawal Aboriginal Water Pathline. The natural water pathline was followed and used for many thousands of years by the Ngunnawal people. They followed the water path that follows through the middle of Moncrieff and Amaroo to Ngunnawal and down to Nichols, which there now is a golf course using all our water.
Oh, yeah, and there's a nice bit of artwork here depicting the river. Nice.
I see an orange vest.
Yes.
What's your orange vest on for today?
So I volunteered as marshal today. So that's a activity where we walk around, put the signs in so people know which way to go, and then just stand at a point and ensure that people are following the right track, keeping left, and just making others aware of the traffic that will be on the course.
Oh, so make sure that they don't run into this creek behind you.
Yeah, well, I was a bit worried because it's my first time whether I'd put the signs up correctly and whether I'd have people heading towards Gungahlin Town Centre as opposed to back to the start line. But I'm assuming it's gone well. I've seen people come around again, so you guys included. So
That's good.
yeah,
That's good.
so I must have done it right because people are coming back.
We were talking earlier, before the mic was on, about Canberra Region parkruns.
Yeah.
How many Canberra Region parkruns have you done?
4? I tell a lie, I've done 5. So I started at Ginninderra when it, like early days, then Gungahlin when Gungahlin started. I've done Mount Ainslie. I was there for the first one of that and done it a few more times since. Was here for the first one of this. And then on New Year's Day, not this one, but the one previous, out at Tuggeranong. For the double, because there was one in Gungahlin and then one at Tuggeranong. Yeah. So have you done this one before?
Yep. Oh, I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this counted as your second? Like
Yeah, it will be. It will be my second.
Oh, what's your first?
It was Mount Ainslie, or the bottom bit. Fortunately, not the whole going up the mountain bit.
Yeah. Mount Ainslie's a good one. Yeah. Actually, I looked at my elevation. This one's got more elevation in it than Mount.
Well, it does have a lot of undulation.
More undulation.
More undulation.
Yeah,
that's the words, right?
So that surprised me.
That's the street terms, undulation. All right.
All right, enjoy.
We're going to undulate for the rest of the course.
Yeah, see
Have
ya.
a good day.
Yeah, thanks. The street term is actually more complicated than the regular term. It goes up and down a lot.
Hi, it's Action Man here. And
Maureen.
Our lovely run director of Wagi Bridge.
Wagyu Bridge.
Wagyu Bridge?
Wagyu Bridge.
Why is it an I? So it's Wagyu Bridge,
Wagyu
even though
as in-
it's Wagi.
Yes.
Even though it's spelled Wagi, it's Wagyu.
Yes.
All right. Kind of like escargot. Okay, kind of same.
Same but different.
same but different. All right. So, do we have a good showman today, do you think?
We did, absolutely. We've gotten over 100 runners and walkers.
Today, really? 100?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's kind of the whole thing. Like, it was too many gunners, so they made a second one, and this place is thriving. It's great.
Absolutely.
It's been a great run today, though. A lot of nice people to talk to, but also, you have a lot of wildlife around.
We do. There's been some kangaroo sightings this morning. Unfortunately, I'm not sure whether the numbers here are reflective of what's normally here, just given the conditions with the smoke and the fires and stuff, and the drought. It's looking very brown out there at the moment. So we do have lots of wildlife, but yeah.
Cool. What made this a special Australia Day-ness of this parkrun versus just a regular Saturday?
Just everyone in our Wagyu Bridge parkrun community getting dressed up with their flags or their colours or their tattoos or
Dress up is always good.
Yeah, dress up's always good. Everyone loves to dress up. So yeah.
Cool. Well, let's go. Rock and roll.
Rock on. Well, that was me, the K-Man.
Action Man.
At the Wagyu Bridge.
Wagyu Bridge, I know. You don't realise that by looking at it, and the spelling is W-A-G-I, but it's Wagyu.
Probably that sign told us. Who knows?
Yeah, we didn't read that sign too well.
All right, peace out.
Peace.
Well, we had some fantastic roving reports there. First up, we had Mark, who was at Riverbank, which is, I guess, not too far from Gungahlin. Interesting to hear that they've had a bit of flooding there, and I noticed that the RD there on the day has a very practical way of dealing with it. They'll just cross that bridge when they get to it.
You got to love the parkrun puns, or any kind of puns, really.
That's right.
I'm a punny kind of gal. Yes, and Dave was at Zillmere having cake and getting his Hawaiian on, which was a bit cool. I do love myself a Hawaiian theme. I'm pretty sure I've said it before, but I definitely. And I'll let you in on a little secret. He actually borrowed some Hawaiian shirts that happened to be in my costume cupboard. Want those back sometime soon, Dave.
Yeah, you might have a bit of a fight on your hands there.
They are magnificent shirts.
Then we had Tok and Melissa both reporting in from Kerang. It was interesting to hear Tok having some childhood flashbacks there from his time visiting his grandparents. And fortunately, there were no other flashbacks of another sort, with the pistol range being nearby.
Yeah, it was nice having the two of them both report in. Like, it doesn't happen very often. Usually, if the roving reporters find themselves both at the same event. So, for example, Linda was also at Zillmere, but she didn't send a report in because she knew Dave was covering it. But it does make for a little bit of a nice different thing that both Tok and Melissa were there at the same time. Glad that Melissa got some leave to get to Kerang Parkrun, and that she had a bit of an adventure with Tok and Jackie. Pistol ranges, rifle ranges, all those sorts of things. This isn't the first event that actually is near or around one. So just goes to show, I think, that our park runners live life on the edge.
They do. And as we heard last week, Melissa's been doing some work for the Army Reserve in supporting the efforts to fight the bushfires in Victoria. So, we're very thankful for the efforts of her and all the defence personnel helping out, and also all the non-defence personnel helping out around the country at the moment.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I mean, Tok spoke about his childhood at visiting Kerang, and it reminded me too of my childhood at Puckapunyal and some of my earlier years when I was in the army myself. So brings back some fond memories.
So your childhood memories, Puckapunyal it's a pretty famous base, actually, isn't it? Because there's a song, it's mentioned in a song.
Yes, it is. You're thinking of I Was Only 19.
Yeah, that is a big song. It's a military base, so families live there as well as people who are currently serving. So that would have been, you say it's back to your childhood, you would have had a parent in the Defence Force who was stationed there at that time?
Yes, yeah, my father was there with the Army in the 70s, in the early 70s we were there. I guess he was posted there initially to help train national servicemen who'd been caught up. I think by the time we get there, they might not have been sending any to Vietnam. And we were there for about 3.5 years, I think it was, my early years of primary school. And, so look, it was a fun time as a kid. We sort of had the run of the place, and we'd be riding around and getting up to all sorts of mischief. And, I was there in later years as when I was in the army myself, and it was interesting to sort of look back at some of the areas that I'd been to as a kid and think, as a kid thinking, gee, that's a huge hill or it's a big area there, and then going back later as an adult and realising how small it all was.
Yeah, the perspectives change. It's a small world, isn't it? Not just a parkrun world, but to have these places and spaces where we have events. And I know a lot of people, especially adventurers, they get to new events when they launch in places that they don't currently live, but they have history there, their parents, or they've got family there, or they holidayed there as a child, or, some part of their past, happened in those areas. And to go and visit the parkruns when they're there, it is a trip down memory lane. And I think it's really lovely that can be part of the parkrun adventure experience.
Yeah, yes, you're certainly right there. You know, there have been a couple of events that I've been to fortunate enough to get to where I have had a bit of a childhood connection, and it's great going back and revisiting them as an adult and seeing how things have changed and how some things haven't changed.
We had some new voices again this week with K-Man and Action Man. That would be Kieran Webb and Alistair Buchanan, who were at Wagi Bridge Parkrun. It was a very refreshing perspective that they gave us as well. I like the two people doing a roving report and bouncing off each other as they go. It's a little bit different than, the traditional interviewing that happens, but I thought it worked well.
Yeah, I think K-Man and Action Man make a great team, and we look forward to hearing some more content from that dynamic duo.
Now, last week, G-Train, Lyndall and I spoke about a club that Lyndall had been thinking on for quite some time, and it's called the Vert Club. We have had some interactions with Peter Polman, who is the keeper of the spreadsheets, and other people talking about how you might be able to track said club. I will be honest, I did not do my homework. I've had a bit of a huge week and didn't get an opportunity to figure out the elevations on all my events and then count them up to see where my status is at in the Vert Club. But it's one of the points that was risen, and from what little I have done of my homework, I concur with it, is that the elevations on individual courses will vary depending on the devices that actually map them, I guess. And so, for example, Kawana, I've got different devices, different GPS devices that have given reasonably different results. I'll have one that sort of tracks it at about between 40 and 44 meters elevation, and another one that just says 10. So that's a bit of a big difference, especially if that's an event that you've done the most and it either counts for 10 or it counts for 40 toward your Vert Club. So, one train of thought is, well, maybe you could take the average of 3 different people's GPSs or something like that. But I don't think it's very accurate. And I remember reading somewhere earlier in the week, and it's my fault for not writing it down, but somebody said that there's a program out there where you can input where you have run into their system, and they give you like GPS data from actual surveyors. It's like land data that people have gone out and, mapped, proper maps with those survey tripod thingies, using all the good technological terms. Here I am. I don't know the name of it, so if anybody knows the name of it, please message me and let me know so that I can let everyone know what it is next week. But I think that could be one way to get the data for the courses that people have done that might be a little bit more accurate. Interesting conversations have started anyway, and there's lots of people out there talking about which events are over elevation of 100 meters and all that sort of stuff. So that's what I love about unofficial clubs. It's getting people talking and thinking and considering doing new challenges. And I'm not going to make you any promises, but maybe by next week I will have tried to figure out where I stand in the club.
Yes, well, hopefully one of our loyal listeners will phone in with that information about which site that you can do that sort of thing in. I mean, it certainly is an interesting way of looking at things, and gets people thinking about things in different ways, and sparks some interest in events which might not usually get a bit of attendance. Certainly I know that Wilson Botanic near us is one of the hilliest around, and but it's interesting though, because the other thing about GPSs is that even within the same device you can get different readings depending on what day it is and where the satellites are positioned in the sky.
Those tricky satellites.
That's right. It'd probably work better if they were stuck on poles rather than floating around in space.
Yeah.
Yes, there's also, you can also have occasions where if you're doing a 2-lapper, is that sometimes the data might be different on one lap compared to the other.
And, it might vary again depending on running style.
True. If you go from running to crawling.
Some people flail their arms around a lot.
Yeah, that's right. Or that could be one way you can get some extra vert at the top of a hill.
Exactly. Just do a couple of star jumps while you're up there.
Yep.
Now, something else that was an excellent point which was raised is Peter Polman did the let me Google that for you situation with the name of the Sherpa who was the first one to head up to Mount Everest, and that was Tenzing Norgay.
That's correct.
So potentially we should be calling the Sherpa level Tenzing Norgay instead of Sherpa. It's Lyndall's club. I'll leave that up to her to decide. But then you also made an excellent point to me earlier this week, Gerard, when you mentioned that there would have been a lot more Indigenous people climbing Mount Kosciuszko far, far before anyone of the colonial fleet or...
Yeah, I guess before any Europeans came along and walked up it.
Yes.
It was interesting. My late mother-in-law was Polish, and when I first met her, she said, "Oh yes, look, Australia's very interesting because you've even got a Mount Kosciuszko there." Kosciuszko? Where's Mount Kosciuszko? And then I realised what she was saying.
That's the Polish pronunciation for it. That's excellent. Kosciuszko.
Yes, Mount Kosciuszko.
I like it. I'm going to try and remember how to say that and use that in future just to confuse people. Meanwhile, I want to remind everybody as well that the Palm 20 Parkrun Adventures Listener Meetup Countdown is on. So it's not long to go. We're very excited and looking forward to it. And a lot of the agenda is already getting put together by the team that are organising it for us. And I will reveal, and we'll share the Facebook page where there's more details, etc. But there's going to be a lot of freedom runs across the weekend. So in addition to running Mount Parker Parkrun on Saturday morning, there are freedom runs already planned on Friday afternoon/evening at West Beach. And then on Saturday afternoon, Lochiel. And then on Sunday morning, Cleland, talking about elevation. So it's going to be a big weekend. Lots of opportunities for people to do freedom runs in a group. Of course, people, the good thing about Palm is people just pick and choose which bits they want to attend and how much running, etc. they want to do, or walking and those sorts of things. Everybody always chooses to do the fancy dress and come to dinner on Saturday night. That's a highlight for me personally. It's going to be a fun weekend. So looking forward to that, and just wanted to give everybody a reminder that it's happening. And there's a Facebook page for it. Gerard, do you know what the Facebook page is?
No, but I can imagine it will have something to do with Palm 20.
Well, it's actually spelt out. So the Facebook page, if anyone wants to find it and keep an eye on the events, and just say that even you're interested. So potentially, if not this year, maybe next year, is the Parkrun Adventurers Podcast Listener Meetup. So that's what you got to type in.
It sounds like it's going to be an action-packed weekend, and it's just another example of the fantastic connections that have grown out of Parkrun. It's not, for some people, it's just rocking up on a Saturday morning, doing a bit of a run or a walk or some volunteering and heading home. But for others, they've made connections with people across the country and across the world, and they're, now getting together and meeting up in person. And another example is the Longest Day event, which will no doubt be happening again later this year.
I am exceptionally proud that the podcast has become, even in its unofficial capacity, this extension of how people can connect through the parkrun world. Clubs, that's one way that people do, and they spend time outside of Parkrun Day together. But the fact that we've built a community around the podcast of like-minded individuals, our adventurers out there who just love to do things a little bit different and love to explore the parkrun world. Very, very proud of the fact that we've got all these friends, and you are all friends, and it's always lovely to meet the friends that I haven't met yet at the listener meetups as well. So can't wait to get together with you all and have a chat and just basically gorge ourselves on parkrun for the whole weekend. It's going to be great.
Should be awesome. Well, it's been quite an honour to be with you tonight. I've had a lot of fun, and I'm not sure when the next opportunity will be, but it's something that it's been interesting sitting on the other side of the speakers for a change, I guess, and seeing how it all works in the background, and getting to spend some quality time with yourself.
It's been great having you on the co-hosting couch, G-Train, and you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you. I'll put you through to my agent after this call.
We'll talk pricing.
That's right.